He might stop me, man. I ain't gonna hold you, man.
Canelo Alvarez got one of the best chins.
Yeah, but man, listen, he ain't been hit by Terence though. Terence can punch, man. You know what I mean? I know he's been in with some of the great punches and all that, but the punches got to be case right. You know what I mean? And Terence plays some punches, man.
I can totally see Crawford outboxing Canelo, like making him look like taking him straight to school. But again, do not see Crawford.
The tension between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez continues to escalate as Crawford pushes the narrative that Canelo poses no real challenge to him. This growing animosity was evident during their recent face-off, which nearly turned into a brawl. For Crawford, this appears to be a calculated move aimed at undermining Canelo's stronghold on Mexican fan support. The Nebraska native, known for his methodical approach,
I got the reach over. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan. Just
don't do
obviously.
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not.
Alvarez has long embraced his Mexican heritage as a central part of his identity, both literally and figuratively, proudly wearing the flag and using it to fuel his rise to global superstardom. His deep connection to Mexico has been a cornerstone of his brand, one he displays boldly as if daring critics to question his place among the legends of Mexican boxing. However, Terence Crawford appears to have identified a potential vulnerability in that bond. While Canelo's career is undeniably impressive,
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
Crawford's new T-shirts are a direct appeal to skeptical Mexican boxing fans, positioning himself as the fighter willing to face any challenge regardless of financial gain. This marks a pivotal moment in the pre-fight narrative, where psychological advantages can be established well before the first bell. Known for his relentless pressure and ability to dismantle...
I've been criticized. People have taken credit away from me just trying to diminish my accomplishments. Just off of pure hate. So, what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes? Canelo become undisputed again, and I'll beat Canelo. What could I say? Oh, they'll say something, but they're gonna make
But for all the theatrics, the financial realities of this matchup loom large. According to multiple sources, Canelo Alvarez stands to earn over $150 million from this fight, a figure that far surpasses any previous payday for Terence Crawford. This staggering sum highlights the immense significance of the bout for both fighters, not just in terms of legacy but also financial reward. However, it also introduces another layer to the narrative. Critics argue that Canelo's recent performances reflect a fighter increasingly focused on maximizing earnings rather than proving himself as the undisputed pound-for-pound best.
Canelo fights, arms longer. He's strong. I'm strong. For me, skill for skill. Right. Canelo not the biggest. So.
Even veteran promoter Bob Arum, never one to mince words, recently expressed skepticism about the matchup, citing concerns over Canelo's motivation. If they're each going to fight, really fight, I think it's terrific. It's very interesting. But again, if I had to pay money to watch that fight, I wouldn't do it because Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman, Arum stated. His blunt assessment underscores a growing sentiment among critics, that Canelo's focus may have shifted from legacy to lucrative paydays, casting doubt on how much fire he'll bring to the ring.
There's a lot of talk about that.
I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you when Crawford and Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him, but Canelo was a different proposition. It's an interesting fight, but I think there's only one winner. What fight?
Why do you feel you watched the floor with him?
What?
Is it because of the weight difference?
It's because Canelo, yeah. Canelo
He's
is
not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. But again, if Canelo really fights, because it's safe to say Terence always fights, then it could be a very good and interesting fight. Bob Arum's remarks echo a growing chorus of fans who believe that Canelo, once a ferocious combination puncher with a relentless drive, has evolved into a more calculated operator, seemingly content to cash in on his stardom. In stark contrast, Crawford has built a reputation as a no-nonsense fighter, someone who steps into the ring with bad intentions and treats every bout as a test of his legacy.
To win the fight, Crawford's very talented, great footwork, great combinations, and a very strong fighter. Facing him out, he's actually the taller man. So I'm leaning towards Crawford now. I switched my opinion. I think Canelo looked too slow, too flat-footed. One punch at a time. I don't think that's going to be enough for him to beat Crawford. Crawford's too fast, too strong.
However, a significant physical challenge looms over this matchup, one that cannot be overlooked. Weight has been a consistent talking point, with many questioning whether Terence Crawford, who has spent the majority of his career at lightweight and welterweight, can withstand the power and physicality of a natural super middleweight like Canelo Alvarez. This isn't simply a matter of adding muscle. It represents a fundamental shift in how Crawford must approach the fight. History has shown the dangers of such a leap, most notably in the case of Jermall Charlo, who was thoroughly dominated after jumping up 2 weight classes to face Canelo. His defeat serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in crossing into a new weight division at the elite level.
Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jermall Charlo already proved
Amir Khan, a fighter who has shared the ring with both Crawford and Canelo, offered a sobering perspective on the uphill battle Crawford faces. When you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, you're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway. So you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway, Khan observed. You're going to have to add a few pounds. Does he need to put that pressure on himself?
I think Canelo just outboxes. Well, no, doesn't outbox him, but I think just outpowers him and beats him to the punch. And you do give Canelo does have some sort of decent speed as well. So I think Canelo just wins that fight easy. It'd be a knockout. Could be, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to
This is the crux of the physical challenge for Crawford. He has demonstrated the ability to adapt to different styles and overcome physical disadvantages in the past. However, moving up to face a proven power puncher like Canelo is an entirely different challenge. Yet, it may be this very challenge that draws him to the fight. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation, one that could either cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of his generation or reveal the limitations of his physical frame. The matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has sparked predictions from some of the biggest names in boxing, with opinions ranging from absolute confidence in a Canelo knockout to cautious optimism about Crawford's chances.
I think Bud just got the style that outboxed Canelo. I seen Canelo get outboxed every time, so I think Bud is the guy.
What did you think when everybody thought Bud was going to lose? When he fought, and everybody thought he was going to lose, and he came in pairs. Charlamagne thought he was going to lose. He came in sides.
Not everybody.
Julio Cesar Chavez, a living legend in Mexican boxing, didn't hold back when discussing the matchup. Known for his brutal honesty and deep understanding of the sport, Chavez outright dismissed Crawford's chances. He believes the fight is a mismatch, with Canelo's power and size presenting an insurmountable challenge for the smaller Crawford. It's really an uneven fight, Chavez said in a recent interview. Crawford is a great fighter, but Canelo is out of his league. Crawford is going for the money, and Canelo is going to knock him out. This strong, almost dismissive stance reflects the skepticism many old-school fighters have about dramatic weight jumps, particularly when the fighter moving up lacks the physical frame to handle the punishment that naturally heavier opponents can deliver.
Pareja, la verdad. Crawford es un gran peleador, pero no tiene nada que hacer en ese peso. Con todo respeto, él va por el dinero y Canelo lo va a noquear.
The two fighters are going to be different weight classes, even though they're going to fight on a specific weight. He believes that they're just going because of the money, Crawford, but probably Canelo.
This perspective isn't without merit. Canelo, despite his polarizing reputation, has firmly established himself as a dominant force at super middleweight. He has defeated some of the hardest hitters in the sport and absorbed shots that would likely have crumbled smaller men. The Mexican superstar's chin is legendary, his bodywork is vicious, and his ability to close the distance and cut off the ring is exceptional. Chavez's prediction essentially hinges on the idea that Crawford, for all his technical brilliance, lacks the physical tools to handle a true 168-pound powerhouse.
Can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, are you stupid? I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The scientific of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. When you saw Canelo Alvarez fight for another time, now look at it.
This perspective isn't without merit. Canelo, despite his polarizing reputation, has firmly established himself as a dominant force at super middleweight. He has defeated some of the hardest hitters in the sport and absorbed shots that would likely have crumbled smaller men. The Mexican superstar's chin is legendary, his bodywork is vicious, and his ability to close the distance and cut off the ring is exceptional. Chavez's prediction essentially hinges on the idea that Crawford, for all his technical brilliance, lacks the physical tools to handle a true 168-pound powerhouse.